All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Chalk Talk Analysis. I am Stephen Lucas along with Anthony Lucas, and today we are going to be talking about the topic of, is CrossFit taking it too far, or is CrossFit overdoing it? Basically, when CrossFit goes and plans the competitions, are they taking athlete safety into consideration? With that being said, like I was saying, we're going to primarily focus on the competition side of CrossFit, and we are going to dive a little bit deeper and give our analysis in that. Before we begin, the bottom line up front that Anthony and I want to stress with everybody is we do think and we do know that CrossFit is taking athlete safety into consideration. So as we get down into the nitty gritty of this discussion and of this analysis, that is one thing we want you guys to be able to leave here today with, is we do believe CrossFit is taking the necessary precautions to ensure that athlete safety is taken into consideration as they plan these CrossFit games, as well as other CrossFit competitions. So with that being said, let's get down to it. Anthony, what's going on?
Not much. Just another great Thursday night.
Yes, sir.
And tomorrow's Friday.
Yeah.
Got to go work out. I'll wake up early in the morning and work out tomorrow.
Nice.
Get ready for the weekend.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, this is a subject. I'll say this was something I had brought up to Stephen and to you, and had said from over the years of what I've seen as far as athletes, competing athletes going into these competitions, there have been concerns. I believe the concerns are starting to diminish, especially as we see roles changing a little bit within the CrossFit games and in the competitions. I think there has to be a point where safety is the protocol, and we have to be able to, I say we as in the CrossFit community,
right?
We have to know when to go or when to say, all right, that's now too dangerous. This is now a point where let's back something off. Let's pull something away. And I was talking to Stephen about this. Great example is atmosphere, whatever it is that's going on, as far as weather, as far as, freak things of nature. I mean, you're not going to go the track if there's a hurricane out there or a tornado going on, right? You got to be able to pull away, back off, and then adapt and overcome. That's what needs to be happening and what we need to see. And I think we are starting to see that a little bit more, with no names, but as the roles change through CrossFit, and they're starting to really care about the safety of these athletes.
Yeah.
It's one point. I was saying a great example is, it's one thing to go swim to, the island. Let's just take, what's that island right there in, right off Newport Beach there in California, Catalina. I'm giving an example. Go swim to Catalina Island. Okay, well, there's a time to swim to Catalina Island and there's a time not to. All right. Yeah. If it's shark infested at the specific time of the year, we're probably not going to throw our athletes into the ocean to go swim to prove that they're great swimmers. Another example, let's use water. I see this a lot too. At what point are we going to say, hey, we probably should not be having our athletes dive into a pool, hands are soaking wet, jump up and start doing a bunch of pull-ups? We saw that happen as well too in the games. They were falling off the bars. Anybody who comes out of a pool is soaking wet is not going to be able to pull out 100 pull-ups like they can with chalk on their hands. So I think there's one point where that's great, that's amazing that they can do these types of things, but it also needs to be a point where, all right, this is now getting to the point where it's getting too dangerous for our athletes, for you, for me, for everybody out there. So that's what our concern is, and that's what we're talking about today as far as analyzing that.
Right. And you brought up a great point with the environment, and we saw that this year with the alpaca event, where they decided not to, I think it was the alpaca event where they decided not to do the rope climbs, right? And that's the type of like considering athlete safety, right? Because there is a point where you have to start looking at the longevity of these athletes as well and minimizing that risk basically. And I like to kind of, in a sense, compare it to other sports like the NFL, right? The NFL stepped up and took a huge step in mitigating and reducing the risk of concussions, right? And I'm not saying
Right.
that's the same thing with CrossFit, but that's what CrossFit is starting to do, is starting to really think about like, hey, is this event going to potentially put these athletes in unnecessary circumstances where they could potentially get injured, deadly, you know what I'm saying? Like let's talk about, go back to Kevin Ogar
Ogar.
Ogar, right? Now he competed in the OC throwdown. However, we see the repercussions of that. The man is now paralyzed, and some of the situations for that is because what, according to that article or according to the research, is, you know, one, they said that the lifting platform was on a slant, and two, as he was performing his lift, there was 45-pound weight stacked up behind him, right? That's not okay. And if you are planning a competition, right, that type of stuff cannot be happening. And like I was saying, we are starting to see CrossFit, I loved what you said, by the way, as the roles change, they're starting to be like, okay, you know what, like, I shouldn't say they are, because this is all like an analysis, right? But it's likely that they are starting to look at that type of stuff and be like, hey, this is going to put them in harm's way, and there could be the potential for serious injuries. So let's not do that.
Absolutely, I agree. Annie Thorisdottir, 2015 CrossFit Games, Murph. We saw this with many athletes. They had said, due to the fact that they had just swam into the ocean earlier that day, they then come out and they're doing their Murph, and the rises in temperature and changes, and their blood, with blood, with oxygen levels, with VO2 max, all that all took into play, and you saw a lot of heat exhaustion going on,
Right.
almost to with heat stroke. I believe Annie was actually basically to a heat stroke. They had to pump what, 2.5 bags of of IV in her to get her
Right.
back to. And I believe she then pulled out of the competition. I don't recall if she did go back in. I could tell you she wasn't the rock star she was when she first started, because you come
Right.
out of that to be what you were before.
Yeah.
Getting back to NFL, like you were saying, yes, they have taken all these extra precautions with the new helmet that they're doing. Yes, I agree with that. They're doing that preseason. They're doing that in their practicing. And what is CrossFit doing now as far as making the changes, the necessary changes, to where they want to get to an international level? They want to get to an Olympic level. That's what I believe they are going for. But they also have to take into consideration, can we even keep our athletes to make it to a time where we're getting to an international level? And one blows my mind. She would still probably be competing today, but it ruined her. Julie Fouché on the box jumps, right? The drop jump, drop jump, drop jump. I've done it. You've done it. It is not good on the joints. It's not good on your body. It literally will shatter your heel, your ankle, whatever it is, over time. Yes, you will be able to do it, but over time, as you're getting older, things, they have to change, right? Which is why they came up with the age ranges. I get that too. But at what point do we then say that's being canceled? We're changing that. That's not good for their safety, for their mental health, for their emotional stability. That's not good for them as an athlete, because we want to keep them being a CrossFit athlete for years. That's the
Right.
point. That's what we're trying. And Julie Fouché was one of the perfect examples of I believe she would be up there. I believe she would be a podium finisher, but she can't right now. She's not. She pulled away from it due to such a wicked injury.
Yeah.
And Kevin is the perfect example. Obviously, that was a fluke of an accident. Things happen. You know, Emily Rolfe this year, 2022 CrossFit Games, we don't know what that was about. I don't believe that had to do anything with the programming. I believe that was just a fluke as well too. Maybe something that happened prior practice in her workouts, nutrition, whatever it is. That was a fluke. But we've seen this with Brooke Wells with the snatch. We've seen this with Danny Spiegel with the rope climbs. We've seen Scott Panchik literally said he was worried at the Syndicate Crown, looking up, saying those ropes are too high. And what happens? He then got tangled up, gets hurt. Now he's out. Right?
Yeah.
These are
Hold on.
things that we have.
Let me interrupt you right there, because CrossFit did respond to that, and they said that they created a new position called the competition liaison, right? Position, if you want to call it that. And they did say, one, they wished Scott Panchik very well, but also they did say that there was a breakdown essentially in the communication between the competition liaison and not getting that message back to headquarters. So some people may look at that and be like, yep, that's what's wrong with CrossFit, like no communication. However, that is a new position that the new individuals who potentially came into CrossFit said, hey, we need to input a position like a competition liaison that's going to bring concerns up to CrossFit headquarters when these athletes have concerns. And I think people expect things to be perfect when a new position is implemented. But if you don't know what you don't know, or you create a new position that's brand new, you're going to be tossed into a new position or a new situation that you have never inquired before. And as you know, at being a competitor and within powerlifting and also helping people in CrossFit, it's a chaotic, like you can tell a judge, hey, this is my concern, but that judge is getting ready to judge the next heat, and they're not worried about the concern that I shouldn't say they're not worried, but maybe they don't have time to go and tell, or maybe they call headquarters. There's just so many different nuances. However, we see that CrossFit is starting to take serious consideration about what the athletes are bringing up and the concern that they have for safety.
I will agree with you there, definitely, and I can attest to that, because I remember running Northwest Battle of the Beast when we owned the CrossFit gym, and I had many people coming to me. Well, I'm talking to my scorekeeper, I'm talking to my sponsors and everybody throughout the whole day, and you got all this info coming at you, and there were people that were bringing stuff up to me about safety, me bringing out a big I brought out scaffold basically,
Right.
and some people were saying, well, that's the rust or whatever, and I just was like, we have to get through this whole day, because I've got like 400 athletes that need to compete today.
Right.
And then at the end, I got some of the emails, and I got some of the this wasn't fair and that's not cool. And I will say, it's a lot of work to run a competition.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to make sure it runs smoothly and flows fine. This year, I believe we saw that much better for sure. But yeah, I'll attest to that. That is true.
Yeah. And I'm just very, like, so, and that's the type of stuff, we got to dig into the nitty gritty of, is like, okay, he voiced his concern, but there was a breakdown in communication. And like, don't get me wrong, dude, like, I wish well for Scott Panchik, and hopefully he comes back and still competes. But also at the same time, it's like, if CrossFit needs to learn from this, and they're probably going to analyze the situation and see what's going on, like, are we going to cut the ropes, or are we going to leave them? Are we going to add crash mats to the ropes? So, that minimizes it. Who knows? You know what I mean? But those are the conversations that I assess that they are having at a level they've never had before within the domain of CrossFit Games, as well as like the Syndicate Crown and stuff like that, or the Mid Atlantic, CrossFit competition at those. I think those are regional levels. That those are the type of
Yep.
conversations that they're having with all of that. And to hit on this real quick, you brought up the Emily Rolfe situation, right? And she talked about how on her Instagram account, she was just talking about how her left hand looked like the color of a corpse, right? It's like you were saying, like, we don't know, in my opinion or my assessment, that's not competition related. That's just something she was talking about, how she maybe thought her wrist straps were too tight. But
Yep.
that's just unfortunate, and we don't necessarily know if, and I don't think it was the programming that caused that.
No.
I'm pretty sure she had to get surgery, but I've seen her Instagram. She's back to working out, and it looks like she's doing well, which is awesome. So,
Yep.
and you brought up a
Yep.
great point. Like there's certain things, like with like, is CrossFit going to cut the ropes in order to minimize ankles and ACLs being those injuries being reduced? And also considering, like, sometimes the injuries that do occur are on athletes. And to bring up another individual, everyone, I apologize if I butcher names, just bear with me. Please correct me appropriately in the comments. But Keelan Henry, he had to pull out of the 2022 CrossFit Games, but the article from fitnessvolt.com talked about how he was dealing with multiple injuries before the competition, such as like a hamstring. He fell off a bike. So those are the things to consider as well.
And actually, I was just reading today too that actually Tia Claire Toomey was having injury, a back injury, I
Yes,
believe.
yes, yeah. I saw, yeah, I saw something about that. I didn't read about it though.
So
So
here's the thing that everybody who's watching this to remember. Listen, when you go into a competition platform, whether, like me being a power lifter, whether you're going to be a CrossFit Games athlete or an NFL player, you assume the risk. We get that. And Stephen and I are not saying, hey, let's soften it up. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is at certain points, which I believe they're starting to do, and you said that with the alpaca event, perfect example. That's enough, guys. Let's just pull away from the ropes. Let's cut the ropes. Let's just make some changes that it's like, okay, these guys are clearly gassed. They just came out of the freezing cold ocean, and now they're going to do Murph. I mean, Murph is, to me, it's like a half marathon almost. All right. It takes me probably an hour. So it's a quarter marathon, right? These guys are doing it in 30, 35 minutes. All right. You do the triple three out. We saw that with Rich Froning as well, too. And I love doing that workout. It's a great cardiovascular Metcon. Great. But, we saw that with Rich Froning, which might not have been his strong suit as far as that cardiovascular, maybe nutrition, maybe something. But anyway, most people are not able to go and do triple threes at 28 minutes, 30 minutes, 32 minutes. It takes me like 45 minutes to an hour. All right. But anyway, what I'm trying to say, and what Stephen and I are trying to say, is we're liking what we see as far as changes.
Yep.
We're liking that we're not seeing the box jumps. We're not seeing every event is an Olympic lift. All right. I feel as though, and we saw that, and I was so happy about the 2022 games this year, that it wasn't who's the best Olympic lifter and they win. We see so much more variety, especially with the strongman stuff. That was cool to see this year. So I'm excited to see changes and differences and applying what they are, which is functional fitness, modalities, domains, across all domains. That's what we saw. All right.
All right, guys. We apologize for that, but we got cut out there. But anywho's, Anthony, you want to start wrapping this up, man. You're making a great point about how, both of us are, we're in agreement pretty much that CrossFit is going in the right direction. You want to finish on that thought, man?
Yeah, I think in positive terms, it's going to be better for what we've seen this past year. I've always had my thoughts on the whole safety, as far as at what point, you know, that's great. You're the fittest in the world. That's great. But at what point do we say, hey, listen, this is now getting dangerous to the pro? I do agree. We're going to see things being better with that, and just stick to it. Also, listen to your body. Do what your body tells you, because you know what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. Keep your form, keep your technique. If it's too heavy, you know what to do. And that's where I think a lot of people really fall short of. They try to do things that there's no way they can do at the time. Now, you want to train for it, great. But it will get better, and it is getting better.
Agreed. Hey, just so you know, man, the frame froze a little bit while you were just talking. I can see you moving a little bit, blinking your eyes. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. I think that the next few years with the programming that's coming out, we will see, a huge indicator. Are they taking athlete safety and condition? And one thing I do want to mention is during the 2021 games, when they did their handstands, like they progressed forward, came down on top of their head, had to stand up, progress forward, come down on their head, stand, do a handstand again. Do you remember that? To me, like, I understand, like, you're pushing these athletes to a level that they've never been before, but also the question that you have to think about, is that really healthy for your spine and your longevity, right? Just like how the NFL is looking at minimizing and reducing concussions via player safety. I think those are the things, and those are the questions that the current programming staff within CrossFit is looking at. Is like, hey, is that really something we can do? Like, or is that really something that's going to potentially hinder these athletes? I mean, something else to keep in mind about it is these athletes don't make a ton of money to be able to recover from a serious injury like NFL players do. But with that being said, I do think CrossFit is moving into that progression of trying to get these players paid more, or these athletes paid more. And so with that being said, as the years progress, we will likely start seeing what we saw in the 2022 Noble CrossFit Games, and that is, hey, the ropes a little too dangerous right now. We're going to nix that, but we're going to continue doing the other stuff as well. So yeah, man, cool. Any other last little tidbits of knowledge or anything like that you want to hand out?
No, I think we've covered it.
Okay. Sweet.
I think we're good.
All right, man.
That'll work. Yeah.
Sweet. Hey guys, we appreciate you tuning in. If you are listening to this, please like and subscribe to the channel. Please leave your comments down below. Tell us what you think. Tell us what your analysis is. The only thing that we ask is, this is an open discussion forum, so please keep it respectful. And we want to hear from you. If you have opposing viewpoints, lay it out. We want to read about it. We want to see it. And we look forward to hearing from you guys. And we will talk to you soon. Appreciate it. Have a good one. All right, brother. We will talk soon, huh?
All right.
Later.
Later.